again for tuning in. Now, for the first time in U.S. history, the U.S. administration, Donald Trump, has designated another government's military a foreign terrorist organization. This has just occurred. Donald Trump has designated the Iranian Revolutionary Guards in Iran a foreign terrorist organization. This is a huge escalation. They are on the same list with all of these other terror groups now. Huge escalation in what is absolutely an act of war and an upcoming military conflict. This is huge, and also puts our stance against Russia, China, and this whole alliance on a whole new level. Now, we've been talking about this for a long time with Iran, and just the other day in the video about Venezuela, how Iran has Hezbollah there. Hezbollah was trained by the elite Revolutionary Guards. This is a worldwide designation because the Iranian Revolutionary Guards are everywhere, whether it's Hezbollah, whether it's the direct military personnel. This also gives a huge upper hand now to Israel, especially worldwide, because we have Iranian troops in Syria. We know that Israel wants to absolutely dismantle that. They want to dismantle the connection between Bashar al-Assad and Iran. You have Iranian ports being built in Syria, and you also have the issue with Hezbollah in Lebanon, which Israel and Lebanon have fought multiple wars over. Huge escalation, and this is something that, you know, the neoliberals, the neocons, that they all want. You know, they all want this, obviously, because they're all going to agree on it. And even the media, you see them, they're not really downplaying this, because they love this kind of thing. Now, I'm of the understanding that Donald Trump, he's in a situation where, look, one, everything is rigged against him. His campaign was rigged against him. His presidency is rigged against him. They're doing everything to stop him whatsoever. And it's always been my concern in this situation where he might go to war for not just reasons of threat, but also given the fact that the threat that in 2020, the insurance policy might be much worse. It might be totally rigged. What are some of the ways to get out of this? Some of the ways to kind of control things that you have around you is when you're in the middle of a war. Those war powers bringing it to you. And the deep state, the establishment, the neocons, neoliberals, they love this. They love this. So I've always seen that Donald Trump, they're kind of trying to corner him. They keep trying to corner him. And look, we know how his stance has been on Iran, so I don't believe he would hesitate to go to war. Now, they've been mulling this move for months. Whether
Trump designates Iran's Revolutionary Guard a foreign terrorist group. Gee, I wonder if that's going to escalate Iran to drop bombs on America by like May 3rd or something.
Whether to do this or whether not to do this. But this is huge. Iran's already saying that they want to retaliate.
In an important step to counter the Iranian regime terrorism, the U.S. has designated the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps Quad forces as foreign terrorist organization. We must help the people of Iran get back their freedom. Right.
You have American troops all in the Middle East. They might retaliate against them. And guess what you also have? You have Hezbollah cells, which again were trained by the elite Revolutionary Guards right here.
Iranian terrorists are secretly living in the United States and could be ready to strike at any moment. Officials warning Congress of Hezbollah sleeper cells. Militants have already been caught plotting attacks in New York and in Michigan.
There are sleeper cells all
and in Michigan.
There are
New York and in Michigan.
There are sleeper cells all over the place. And we have just designated all of these groups a foreign terrorist organization, which is going to give so many more powers, all right, to the U.S. military and to the deep state to conduct military operations against Iran. Simple and plain. This is something that we saw coming, at least AMTV and you guys tuning in.
Oh my God. All right, that's enough. Here, step aside, clown. Here's who really seen it coming. Now, what exactly? I don't know. Come on, give me a break. It's the date, all right? It's the date. The date comes and you try to figure out the script. So for yet in 7 days, which is April 8th. Then 40 nights. So let me take you back to what I did say, that it was wrong. I'm going to show you my faults too, in case anybody forgets. Martial law declared April 8th. All right, fine. A declaration, right? Martial law declared, declaration, April 8th. So there was a declaration, and it was on April 8th, okay? So this is 2 out of 3 guesses. Martial law being declared on April 8th. It's 3 things. Well, and I added the 40 days. Well, that's 4 things. Until he opens the ark. That's 5. And a fake rapture, so that's 6. All right, well, forgive me, but this hasn't happened yet. This isn't over yet. So this here, the declaration, and April 8th. And don't you think it's going to result in martial law anyway? May 3rd. I believe the script is Iran drops bombs on the Israelites in America and Americans in Israel. According to their script. As soon as the bombs are dropped, World War III begins to be declared. So he designates. So he nominated or selected for a duty, office, purpose, to appoint, to assign. So he assigned them. He assigned them as terrorists. Trump assigns Iran's Revolutionary Guard a foreign terrorist group.
So I'm doing another one. War will start on Saturday, the 7th of April. And war will start on Saturday, the 7th of April.
April 2nd, 2018.
And I predicted this. I mean, I hate to see it, but at least I can say I was right. I predicted this. I mean, I hate to see it, but at least I can say I was right. I told everybody, you have a
365 full days, Sunday, April 7th, into April 9th, Monday, 2019.
And I will do it, just like you know I will do it. I don't play games. I'll do it. So we're doing it to stop people. We're going to give them a 1-year warning. We're going to give them a 1-year warning. We're going to give them a 1-year warning.
I don't believe he would hesitate. To go to war. Now, they've been mulling this move for months, whether to do this or whether not.
See how he says that real quick? And he tries to change the subject real quick.
Do this. But this is huge. Iran's already saying that they want to retaliate. You have American troops all in the Middle East. They want to retaliate against them. And guess what you also have? You have Hezbollah cells, which again were trained by the elite Revolutionary Guards right here.
Iranian terrorists are secretly living in the United States and could be ready to strike at any moment. Officials warning Congress of Hezbollah sleeper cells. Militants have already been caught plotting attacks in New York and in Michigan.
Now, I remember saying that, is Steve going to get shot too, according to the script? Like, is something going to happen in Michigan where they drop a bomb or something like that? Steve, remember that video? And then now they're talking about New York, obviously, with the tsunami, the bomb that'll hit the ocean or whatever, and then Michigan, because, well, there was a scare, Michigan with the balloons popped at Mason's headquarters, or Michigan Mason's Hall, something like that college, and then with New Zealand being Linwood, the shooting there, so you can kind of match Linwood and Michigan. And so, yeah, it looks like Steve's gonna. It's looking like that script is actually going to happen, where the bombs are going to be dropped on Michigan.
Militants have already been caught plotting attacks in New York and in Michigan.
There are sleeper cells all over the place, and we have just designated all of these groups a foreign terrorist organization, which is going to give so many more powers, all right, to the U.S. military and to the deep state to conduct military operations against Iran. Simple and plain. Against Iran. Against Iran. Simple.
All right, this is the definition of a false prophet.
And plain. This is something that we saw coming, at least AMTV and you guys tuning in. We know that Iran has always been on that list of targets to take out. We already have a huge footprint in the Middle East and the stance to do so. Russia has already won with Syria right now, but our main goal was never Syria. Everybody knows that. Our main goal was never Syria. Our main goal has always been Iran. Now, if you've noticed previously, Donald Trump is doing a lot of things, and the U.S. administration, the deep state, not just Donald Trump himself, this has always been a plan
so smooth.
to destabilize the Iranian economy and to create little
What are they trying to subliminally hit her? We are desperate. Economic crisis hits ordinary Iranians. U.S. sanctions ratchet up pressure on Tehran, yet there is no evidence of measures sparking a call for an uprising. Oh man, come on, Steve. This is getting ridiculous.
and to create little uprisings in Iran. So they've already done this within, and the Iranian economy has crashed. Now there are uprisings in Iran. So they've already done this within, and the Iranian economy has crashed. Now their military is designated a terrorist organization. This is a huge escalation again, and a military conflict. This is a huge escalation again, and a military conflict. This is a huge escalation again, and a military conflict.
All right, so it's a huge escalation. World War III. Everything's going to start. We are getting bombed out. However, the best thing to do is this.
Being prepared is so important. Also, being financially prepared and having the education to know what's coming is very, very important. A huge bull run.
You know, sometimes if people did have the education of knowing what's coming, they wouldn't act like this.
Happening in Bitcoin, and we
act like this. But I'll tell you one thing. I get my news from here. I get my news. He is the mouthpiece for the elite.
First time in U.S. history, the U.S. administration, Donald Trump, has designated another government's military a foreign terrorist organization. This has just occurred. Donald Trump has designated the Iranian Revolutionary Guards in Iran a foreign terrorist organization. This is a huge escalation. They are on the same list with all of these other terror groups now. Escalation and what is absolutely an act of war and an upcoming military conflict.
And let's see where this all brings us. But I want to thank Ambassador Kaiser and Steve. I want to thank you. And Steve, I want to thank you. And Steve, I want to thank you. And of China, a highly respected man all over the world. We've had tremendous discussions. We're getting very close to making a deal. That doesn't mean the deal is made, because it's not. But we're certainly getting a lot closer. And I would think within the next 4 weeks, or maybe less, maybe more, whatever it takes. I would think within the next 4 weeks, or maybe less, maybe more, whatever it takes, something very monumental could be announced.
Over the next 4 weeks, something monumental could be announced. Could be less, could be more. Oh wait, that's 2018. Not that it makes a difference, but could be less, could be more. All right, now considering that this was said way beforehand about martial law being declared, could be something very significant that could be announced. Maybe could be more than 4 weeks, could be less than 4 weeks. So could be less, could be more. Could be right before May 1st, the Illuminati's birthday, or right after May 3rd. What'd you say, Trump, again?
But we're certainly getting a lot closer, and I would think within the next 4 weeks, or maybe less, maybe more, whatever it takes, something very monumental could be announced. 4 weeks, or maybe less, maybe more, whatever it takes.
Maybe less, maybe more, maybe more. Well, if I'm on a roll, might as well keep going. Look next for Trump to get shot. And then look for Obama to take over. And then look for the sun to disappear at noon. 365 full days later. 365 views later. Don't forget about the tsunamis and the earthquakes.
Maybe less, maybe more, whatever it takes. Something very monumental could be announced. We very much appreciate the letter from President Xi, who recently, just now, I was handed whatever it takes. Something very monumental could be announced. It's coming along really well. We'll probably know over the next 4 weeks. It may take 2 weeks after that to get it papered, but I really...
Plus 14 days. Oops. Friday is always a good day. Right before the Sabbath. The first Sabbath and then the second Sabbath. Looks like the timeline's still right on track for the rapture.
You know, when he goes over to...
Hey, let me just let Trump tell you what the script is.
Hundreds of billions of dollars worth of weapons, including nuclear.
Who's coming next?
Which is ridiculous, and I would say that China will come along, and I would say Russia will come along. It doesn't really make sense. Weapons, including nuclear, which is ridiculous, and I would say that China will come along, and I would say Russia will come along. It doesn't really...
That's right. Watch out for those TV bombs from TV heaven. Trump said it. Russia. China. Don't worry, North Korea will get in it. They're coming up last.
Central casting, you can't cast it. What do you have? You don't have anybody in Hollywood that looks like these guys. Central casting, you can't cast it. What do you have? You don't have anybody in Hollywood that looks like these guys. You don't have anybody in Hollywood that looks like these guys.
And action.
I'm a sheriff from the Central Valley of California, and I have 3 other Central Valley sheriffs.
Yeah, you're a sheriff, all right, sure.
We have a compelling crisis of to the point of being dishonest with malice. We have a humanitarian crisis which is very clear and compelling. We have a compelling crisis of public safety with human trafficking, drug trafficking, sex trafficking. This is not make-believe. This is something that we live with every day as border sheriffs. So we applaud the efforts of the current administration to secure our border. It's very clear and compelling. We have a compelling crisis of public safety with human trafficking, drug trafficking, sex trafficking coming up through the border. This is not make-believe. This is something that we live with every day as border sheriffs.
I had a brief meeting. They gave me a little bit of information. No, I'm not concerned at all. We have very good control. We have extremely good, and it's getting better in cyber. Frankly, what we're doing with cyber is a story in itself.
Yeah, we know what you're doing with cyber.
Friday, while jets are being scrambled, a top Army general tells Congress that Russia is still a threat to the United States. A nuclear arsenal capable of destroying the United States makes Russia the only current verifiable threat to Washington.
Russia's going to shoot a missile from a submarine, a little yellow one, and
March 14th.
That Russia is still a threat to the United States. A nuclear arsenal capable of destroying the United States makes Russia the only current verifiable threat to Washington.
And I predicted this. I mean, I hate to see it, but at least I can say I was right. I told everybody this is.
Genesis 5:22. Enoch walked with God 300 years and had other sons and daughters. In 23, altogether, Enoch lived 365 years. 24, Enoch walked with God, then he was no more, because God took him away. Took him where? Where did he take him away at? I think he took him to Job 5:22. At destruction and famine from the word of God. I know I'm going to laugh. I've already been laughing. Neither am I going to be afraid of the beast of the earth. For you shall be in league with the stones of the field. All right, and the beast that you're supposed to be afraid of the field, shall be at peace with you when you begin to understand the mystery.
Walls, we have some that it's holding back water, so obviously this doesn't do that trick. Different walls, we have some that it's holding back water, so obviously this doesn't do that trick.
You know, he's blocking the water. It's a dam. He's a dam. He's a dam water blocker. That's what he really means behind that.
Big concrete divisions that hold back various parcels of water. We have a lot of water going up, but
yeah, because the waters are prevailing exceedingly.
This doesn't do that trick, but we have a lot of big concrete divisions that hold back various parcels of water. We have a lot of water going up, but this is, I would say, the majority would be in this style, and some of it's 30 feet, some of it's 15 feet, some of it's 12 feet, and some of it's 30 feet, some of it's 15 feet, some of it's 12 feet, depending on
30 feet, 15 feet, 150, 150,000, 1,500,000, 1 billion.5, and 12 tribes.
I think we're the leader. I think we're always going to be the leader. We have to be the leader. I think it's much better if we all got together and we didn't make these weapons.
I agree, Trump. I agree.
Steve, I want to thank you and all of you, Peter.
Second epistle, to stir up your pure minds by way of remembrance. Remembrance.
We just want to say thank you. And I thank that guy for my entire fucking life. So thank you very much, Stephen. And in honor of...
And I said, should such a man as I flee? And who is there that, being as I am, would go into the temple to save his life? I will not go in. No, I perceived that God had not sent him, but that he pronounced this prophecy against me. For Tobiah and Sanballat had hired him. Therefore was he hired, that I should be afraid and do so and sin, and that they might have matter for an evil report, that they might reproach me.
Back when the floodgates opened up after 7 years, 40 days, Saturday evening, June 30th, Sunday morning, July 1st. Time to take a stand for SJD. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong.
So the war was finished. In the 25th day of the month Elul, in 52 days.
Just reminding everybody that, May 25th it's wine day. It's where we all wind down. Rapture. That's my final answer, Regis. So this was prepared a while back.